Yeah.
they show Groundhog Day for 24 hours straight. I watched it twice on that day. And
but you didn't realize it. It was just
it kind of was like that. I woke up in the morning and saw that Groundhog Day was on, and I'm like, okay, like
put your little hand in mine.
That's how you woke up.
That's how I woke up. Yeah. Greetings, citizens of Earth. Welcome to Accelerativ Thrust. I'm Dan.
And I'm Erik.
And I believe, before we move on from the conversation we were having, I do have to say one more thing about Bill Murray.
Okay.
And that is that I also believe that What About Bob is one of the most underrated roles from Bill Murray.
Yeah, it's great.
Yes.
He's great.
He's great in that.
Yeah, so I like it a lot.
Did you ever see The Broken Flowers?
Yes. Jim Jarmusch.
Jim Jarmusch, yeah. That was a good one. Yeah, absolutely. On a unrelated note, but I don't know, maybe a related note. I don't know. Maybe this band has something to do with Bill Murray, but I can tell you for sure that they have something to do with Awesome. This is my pick for the record this week.
Come on, everybody, it's record time.
It comes from a band called Babe Report. The name of the record is Did You Get Better?
Wait, what? I listened to the wrong album.
Did you really?
Isn't that what you told me to listen to?
Oh, no, the I was going to suggest for the episode after.
I fucked up. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
2 days later.
You know, we should get to talking about this record.
Oh yeah, you should just introduce the album.
I'll introduce the album. So this week I chose. This was all me. It was about me. Damn it! I was like I'm like the David Lee Roth of this show. It was about me. Because you heard about the whole like backstage at the Video Music Awards when Van Halen reunited in like 97, 96 or whatever. And David Lee Roth supposedly told Eddie Van Halen that he needed to stop talking because tonight is about me.
Yeah. Well, I would agree with that.
It's all about David Lee Roth.
I mean, he is 100% the reason they were successful. I mean,
think so?
in that way. Like, Eddie's good at guitar. He's a guitar genius.
Yeah, I like how you're.
He's pretty good. So is Yngwie.
Yeah, that's
true. Who gives a shit about Yngwie?
Well, no, actually, you do have a point because without David Lee Roth's antics, nobody would have paid attention, probably. I thought it was interesting that the artist that they presented the award to was Beck that night, too. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. Eddie Van Halen said that he felt that David Lee Roth was very disrespectful to Beck. Which is like, I don't know. I'm sure Beck did not give a shit.
What was he supposed to do? Well, I mean, how much reverence is David Lee Roth supposed to have for Beck?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I mean, Beck and Nirvana basically made it so David Lee Roth could never have a career.
Could never have a career again. Yeah.
Like, what's he supposed to say?
That's true. That's
Thanks,
a good point.
Dick.
And I'm sure that he probably wasn't like jamming Where It's At every single night in 96.
Probably
either,
not. No.
He probably doesn't give a shit.
No.
I mean, David Lee Roth is fantastic. He might be the first punk vocalist too.
The Atomic Punk.
There you go.
Yeah. It's on the first Van Halen record.
And yes, it is. And the first Van Halen record is a great record, by the way.
Sure is. Yeah.
But another great record is from Babe Report.
Oh wait, shit! I listened to the wrong album. No,
oh man, we got to go back. Sorry, guys, we're gonna have to re-record a third time.
Come on, everybody, it's record time.
The name of this record is Did You Get Better?
Mm-hmm.
And so Babe Report came to me in the most curious of ways. It was actually, you know how on Spotify, after you listen to an album, they start playing other artists that supposedly sound like the artist you just played?
Yeah.
Babe Report was the first artist that came up after listening to the Pure Pressure Zombies.
Really?
Which is very strange. That is because
okay.
I can kind of see it, but not really. And that is not a bad thing at all. So Babe Report are from Chicago, Illinois, and consists of Ben Grigg on guitar and vocals, Emily Bernstein on guitar and vocals, Mac on bass, and Peter Reel on drums. And honestly, this is a fantastic album. It's the best way I can really honestly describe it is sort of like noise pop, maybe.
Sure.
Very alternative. Punk. It's quirky. It's strange. Oddly familiar and kind of nostalgic, but also very unconventional at the same time, I think.
Yeah. I think all that nails it. I thought of it sort of as kind of sparse at times, kind of like post-punk, but
absolutely
mixed with noise rock, but all of it done in a really poppy and enjoyable way. Like, I don't know how to describe that. I mean, when you say noisy post-punk, you don't think, oh, this is party music, but this is somewhere in there. I don't know. It's hard to describe.
It's very, I mean, the music is catchy as hell. And there are these sort of like weird leanings that the guitarist, well, I guess the two guitar players, kind of do, where they're playing chords that you don't necessarily hear in like sort of your conventional pop rock or whatever you want to call it.
For sure.
And then also you can definitely tell that they have an appreciation for feedback. And
big time.
There's a lot of dynamics to the instruments as well, like a lot of layers kind of going on. There's definitely a loud, quiet, loud dynamic. Ben's voice is perfect for it. I mean, it has this kind of, I guess, sarcastic, smirky kind of tone that I can't really describe it other than like, it kind of reminds me of like Wayne Coyne in the early Flaming Lips records. And also like a little bit like Evan Dando on the early Lemonheads records.
Wow. I thought of it as a combination of David Yao and Tim DeLofter from Tripping Daisy.
That too. Tripping Daisy is an excellent reference point.
Yeah, and like Polyphonic Spree as well, you know.
For sure. Which I would say that guy and Wayne Coyne kind of have similar aesthetics.
I agree completely. Yeah, it's really good stuff. Like you were talking about the feedback. It reminded me of like Sonic Youth, how they use feedback in a really melodic way. But it's not all feedback. One thing that I thought was cool about the guitars is a lot of it, there's double leads happening, like dual leads, like Thin Lizzy or Iron Maiden or whatever, like that kind of thing. And through those leads, though, that's what kind of informs you of what the melody of the song is, if that makes any sense. Like a lot of times the vocals are sort of like an emotional guide through the song. You know, not that they're atonal or anything, but they're not really concerned with this is the melody of the song that we're trying to present. And a lot of times the guitar leads are doing that. They're kind of leading us down, you know, whatever path we're supposed to be on as far as the melodies go, which is just a little different than most things that you would consider poppy or even punk. You know, a lot of times it's the vocal melody is the melody. So a lot of really cool things going on there between the guitars and the vocals and the guitars in themselves, really.
if I'm not mistaken, I believe that I read that they actually recorded this in their home basement studio.
Yeah, I read that too.
Which is like, the production on this is insanely good.
It is.
That would not be my first guess. I honestly think it sounds like they went to like a professional studio, whatever that means these days, professional studio. But like, it really sounds great. I mean, it's really up. The production is really up there with like Nirvana or something. You know, I mean, it's fantastic. Or Toadies or something.
For sure. Yeah. I think that the fact that they were so locked in on their sounds that like once they figured out a great way to record a sound, I honestly feel like that was it. And they didn't vary. There's not like, you know, this isn't a dig by any means. I really appreciate it, but there's not a lot of like, okay, now let's add strings, or let's add a synth, or let's bring in, you know, like vocal harmonies. Like there's none of that sort of exploration. This is really, in that sense, sparse and direct and visceral or whatever. But honestly, I feel like they just got the sound they needed out of each of the instruments, and that's exactly what it is. And you don't notice that it could be a home recording because they never vary from those things. You know,
that's a very good point. Yeah, there's very little fucking around, and it's just direct and straight to the point. With this record, it's kind of like what you see is what you get, sort of thing. You know what I mean? And it's that is so refreshing in sort of this day and age where, I mean, I like multi-genre bands. You know, there's several bands that you know, like I appreciate when they do exactly what you described, you know, like, oh, let's throw in some synthesizers. Let's play a gong during this section or something, you know what I mean? Things like that. But when somebody does the stripped down, raw, direct form of like rock and roll great, it's like the best thing. And this is honestly some of the best rock music I've heard in a long time.
It's really good. Yeah. And I think that we have used the term poppy a few times. I don't want that to come across. I mean, I always feel like we're trying to explain what we mean by poppy. And I think most people get it, but it's not that it's like lame or
it's not top 40 pop whatever. Music. But see, and I've talked about this before, Eric. I don't think pop is a bad word.
Right. I don't either. Yeah. But I would say that if, you know, like, this is sort of like a pop leaning, like pissed jeans. Like it is noisy.
There you go.
It's like, it's aggressive and noisy in its own ways. It's not like just soft, I guess.
Or another band that comes to mind is Mets.
I don't know Mets.
You don't know Mets very well?
No.
Their first couple of records were a lot noisier than, but they just put out like a newer record that kind of has a sort of a shoegaze influence, I think, a little bit. And this kind of has this isn't really shoegaze, but like I wouldn't say there's any shoegaze elements, but just kind of in that same sort of vein of like, kind of reminds you a little bit of like nostalgic alternative rock, which that is another word.
Yeah.
That is another
nostalgic
word.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is another word that I don't necessarily like to describe bands as, because then it kind of, I don't know, there's sort of that undertone where it's like, okay, so are you just saying that we're like a throwback band or something? No, not at all. Like I think that Babe Report are doing something absolutely new within this like genre. Like I have not heard it done exactly this way.
But I mean, there are elements of, I think, not only shoegaze, but nostalgia. Like I kept trying to figure out what this felt like. And it was sort of like things came to mind like My Bloody Valentine or even like Elastica or something. I don't know. Like when you said this came on after you were listening to Peer Pressure Zombies, I honestly thought you were going to say this came on after you listened to Brainiac.
Right. Yes.
Like,
yes, that would have made more sense.
Feel too. Like it incorporates a lot of things that I am familiar with, which means they're probably from the 90s or early 2000s. And
sure.
So that is an element that's there. I think it has to be a big influence. So.
Definitely. There are parts of it that are like totally like Pixies and Queens of the Stone. There's even like one song on here in particular that put me in mind of the Hives, believe it or not.
Sure, I can see it.
All kinds of stuff. And then there's also just sort of like an unwound element, a Fugazi element, like you said, Sonic Youth.
There's all kinds of stuff. Like I even heard, maybe it's because I'm a bigger fan of this band than anyone else in the world, but Presidents of the United States of America.
Oh God,
there's like moments where it's just singing and a guitar part, and the way it moves, it very much reminds me of the Presidents a lot.
I agree. So,
I don't know. Yeah, I think people will like it.
Yeah, no, I could see that because this record does definitely have a quirkiness to it, like and I think that's sort of like I hear like the Pixies in that sort of as well, but anyway, fantastic guys.
Yes.
If you happen to listen to this, and I hope you do, because we are going to tag you on Instagram. I just want to let you guys know. I want to let you know that your band is amazing.
Better to win. The margins they are looking so thin. Did you see the look in their eyes? Tell me, does it fit true to size? Tell me, is it better to win? The margins they are looking so thin. Did you see the look in their eyes? Tell me, does it fit true to size? Tell me, is it better to feel? The winners, they are such a big deal.
Yeah, and also we've only created this podcast to review this. And we're speaking directly to you. No one else is even listening.
Yeah, and we're sorry that we started talking about David Lee Roth and.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
I mean, that wasn't a threatening thing. It wasn't a challenge.
See,
excuse me. I think that's it. We just petered out completely.
We just screwed the poop.
We just shit the bed. That's the sound of a podcast shitting the bed. Wow, that was terrible.
That was terrible.
Dead air. I love it.
So, Eric, what have you been listening to this week?
Yeah, we should talk about that.
We should talk about that.
I've been listening to, one big one. Only the true heads probably picked this up, but in the last episode, I sampled about a millisecond of House of Large Sizes and edited it in. That's hard to say. Edited it in. So I've been listening to House of Large Sizes. One Big Cake, especially. Phenomenal record.
Oh, cool.
Takes me back. I love House of Large Sizes. We also talked about Rivers Cuomo for some reason. Oh, because we were singing Holiday, I think. And so I've been listening to
that's
the
right.
Weezer Blue album, which is the best one. Yeah, when I thought it was cool, I was like, Pinkerton's the best, obviously, because it's like edgy or something. It still has good songs, but
it's great.
The Blue album's really cool. I've been listening to Malibu Ken. I've been listening to the third Portishead album. It's called Third. John Zorn, Locust Soulless, which I think might be my favorite. And Bearded Legend. The album's called Where the Mind Goes. And that's sort of like hip-hop, I guess. Yeah.
Cool.
What have you been listening to?
So I've been going down, as I started to mention in the Babe Report review, one of my favorite bands that we were talking about, sort of how Babe Report, it's refreshing that they kind of do this stripped down direct version of rock and roll. The band that I've been listening to a lot of lately, going down a rabbit hole and basically listening back to all the albums I have heard, and then listening to the few albums that I haven't heard is Oneida.
Hell yeah.
And Oneida is the polar opposite of like, they're like, okay, let's make like let's open the damn album with a 14-minute track that is just like, I don't know, 2 notes repeated over and over again with like a bunch of synths and weird noises.
Yeah.
And then let's do a straight up like classic rock jam after that. And then let's do some weird folk song. And then after that, let's make an entire like drone album for no reason. You know, like
they're pretty great.
Yeah, they're amazing. And so like I've been listening to, I'd say I listened to Enemy Hogs, which is one of their early ones. Listen to Come On Everybody Let's Rock, which is like literally the title says it all. It is like Oneida's version of like rock music. And then there's like Anthem of the Moon. But in particular, I've been checking out the Thank Your Parents trilogy, which came out in like between 2009 and 2012, I believe, where they put out 3 albums that was supposed to start with their album Happy New Year, but it never manifested that way. Which Happy New Year is an amazing record, might even be my favorite. But
yeah,
they did this trilogy of 3 albums called Preteen Weaponry, Rated O, and Absolute 2. And so Preteen Weaponry is 3 songs, and it's mostly instrumental, but it's very krautrock influenced. And then the big one in the trilogy is the second one, which is Rated O, and it was a triple album.
Dang.
And it goes everywhere. It goes into like house music. It goes into like crazy, like noisy dub. It goes into like just straight up like electro punk stuff. Wow. It goes into drone. It goes everywhere. And then the last one in the trilogy was called Absolute 2, and it's just a straight up drone album. No vocals or anything. Oneida has been my jam this whole week.
Nice.
And I really honestly have not really been listening to much else. There's a couple of things that I kind of delved into, but I can't think of them right now. Well, I did listen to the Peer Pressure Zombies one more time.
Nice. Yeah.
Other than that, I've been watching a lot of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh, snap.
I've been listening to Oneida and watching a bunch of 90s action.
I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Oh man.
Well, have you been watching anything lately at all, Erik, on TV?
Watching. I have been watching Severance. Pretty good.
It's good.
Popular right now. Yeah. I've watched a few movies because they're up for Best Picture.
Oh yeah.
I watched Wicked.
Is it any good?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea. It's really bright. I have a hard time with movies that are like almost completely digital. Like the same reason I don't watch the superhero movies. Like I'm not impressed by any of it. It's like, they blew through a building, but it wasn't there, and the person wasn't there, and so who cares?
The building was not actually there.
None of it happened. I don't know. Like it's just a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as we just have cartoons as blockbusters, then I'll be totally stoked.
Then you'll be stoked as well.
Right.
See, this is why I stick to my Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah. I went to The Brutalist.
Is that any good?
It's 3.5 hours long.
Oh,
it has an intermission in the middle.
A movie has an intermission?
Yeah. That's pretty good. I thought it was good.
Huh.
They dedicated it to Scott Walker at the end, so that got him a lot of points from me.
That's cool.
Scott Walker's like one of my creative
creative inspirations, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sure. Yeah,
you can go with that. Cool. Well, that's yeah. So yeah, I've just had a one-track mind: Oneida and Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oneida, Texas Ranger.
Oneida, Texas Ranger. And
the first time you heard of Oneida, did you say to yourself, "Wait, don't they make those French fries?" So there's Oneida potatoes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, wait a minute. Wait, is this band to make French fries?
You know, there was a band that I think played actually at Gabe's that would actually like grill food and give it to the audience while they were playing.
Pit Lord?
Nah, it's not Pit Lord. Though that would make sense with Pit Lord.
They have a grill. I don't think they're actually cooking meat. I think they have a smoke machine.
Yeah, they're pretty hilarious.
I love Pit Lord.
Pit Lord is fantastic. And all of their song titles, like, I don't know, Barbecue Slaughter or something or whatever, you know. That's not a real title, but you know. Barbecue Slaughter, jeez. Well,
that's
anyway,
my favorite hair metal band.
Barbecue Slaughter.
Oh my god, this is the worst podcast.
Yeah, we're definitely we're downgrading, folks.
Yeah, we suck. Oh, Up All Night. That's what I was thinking.
Up all night, sleep all day.
God,
up all
what
night.
is wrong with us? Jesus.
Well, I don't know. We got the hair metal in us, and you know what I think it is. I think it's the Super Bowl was yesterday, and I think
that must be
everyone's. It messes with everyone's head.
Yeah, the Slaughter Bowl.
The Slaughter Bowl.
Oh that God.
Sounds like a delicious barbecue dish.
It kind of does.
Like a special. Yeah, gonna have a Slaughter Bowl with a side of coleslaw.
It's just like a meat lover's pizza without the pizza.
Yeah.
just a bowl of dead animal.
It's like a bowl of like fucking pepperoni and sausage.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. We gotta go. This is too much.
We do. Yeah. Folks, please message us on accelerativ.thrust@gmail.com with no E at the end of accelerative, or message us on Instagram. And we will be glad to hear from you if you ever want to talk to us again after this episode. I think that's all I pretty much got. Eric, you got anything else?
Nope, just bye.
Bye. That was an interesting one.
Wait, is this band to make French fries?